Hello. Now we'll talk about some common operation in dictionary. So we are already aware of the most of the basics operations in dictionary, right? Now we'll talk about some of them. So here dictionary support the len function. That means here we are creating a dictionary. Let's run this. Now when we use the length of d, it will give you the how many number of key and the pair elements are available in the dictionary. Here we can retrieve the element from the dictionary using this bracket notation, and if the key is not present we'll get the key error. So let's do this. Here we are saying that d of a, this should get a. Now when we say d of python, the python is not there, so we'll get the key error over here, right? Now now to get rid of the key error we can use the get functions. So here we have this d dot get a. This will give you the correct output. Now when we do d dot get python, right, so which is not there, so now this get method will return none as an output. It is not returning you the error. We can also specify the default value, like here we can say that d dot get python comma 0. That means if python, the value of python is not there, it will be 0. Here we are getting the value 0 is over here, right? Now this is quite useful, right, when we are using dictionary to keep track of count of the different keys that are not known, right, into a dictionary. Again, to understand this, consider this example over here. Now as an example, suppose here we have the string. This is the string we have, that we want to count the number of each character that appear in this string, but we already know that the all the string can be between 0 to a to z, right? So we can create a dictionary of a to z, right, and then we can count it. But there could be something else, right? So there could be punctuation marks, there could be the emojis, there could be the space character, right? All this character could be there. So here we'll follow a different approach. So again, we have this text, right? So we have this string. Now we are creating, here we have created a dictionary and the name as a counts. Now we are taking the loop of each character of the text, and now what we do is, now we are trying to pass this each character into a dictionary as a key and as a value. What we are doing is we are trying to get the value of c. If the values are not there, so it will give you the default as 0, and now we are adding it to 1, right? Now we are printing the total dictionary. So this way we can count all the dictionary. Now we can refine this, right? So what we want is, we want to consider the lower cases and the upper cases character as the same. So we can kind of we can kind of lower down all the characters, right, and remove the spaces. So here is the refined version. So as a key, what we are doing is, so for each C character, we are first lowering it and then we are stripping it. Now with the if condition, if that key is not none, right? So now we are using the same dictionary techniques, right, to kind of add or like increase the count of each characters, right? Here we can check that. So now we have the each character. Now let's talk about the membership test, right? So this in and not in is the membership operator. So here let's see the dictionary. Now when we say a in d, this will check that whether this a is present in dictionary or not. It is, so we are getting true. Now z is not there, so we should get false. We can also use not in, so we are saying z not in d. This will give you true because z is not there in the dictionary, right? Now let's talk about how to remove the element from the dictionary. To remove the element, we can use the del operator. Like over here, let's create a dictionary with the from key. Now when we say del d of a, now we are trying to remove the a key from this dictionary. So what will happen? This will remove. Now we can check the d. We have the dictionary but no a as key over here. Now if the key is not present, then we'll get the key error. Here we're trying to do del dz, which is not there, right? This is not, z is not there in this dictionary. Now when we run this, we'll get key error, right? Now to get rid of this error, we can use pop and pop item method to remove the element. Now let's first see how the pop method work. Here is the dictionary we have. Now when we use d.pop, and now here we are trying to remove the b as a key, and now what this pop will give you in the result. So this will give you the value as a result. So now as a d we have this only two values, c and the d. When we do d.pop z, and when we try to get the result, again z is not there, so what happened is we are getting error. So we are still getting the error, right? Now we need to specify the default value to use if key is not found. Here in the pop method we can use the default value. We are saying that d.pop z, and then as a default we are passing not found. That means if z is not there, then we should get the not found as a default value. We can see the output, right? Now this pop item is very much similar, but instead of removing the key in the value, like instead of removing the value, it removed the entire key in the value pair, right? So here, let's look at. Here we have this dictionary. Here when we do d.pop item, we can see that entire item has been removed. So this item has been removed. We can again see d.pop item, right? So again, if the values are not there, if no values are there, if this dictionary is empty, so we'll get the key error, right? Now, inserting key with the default. Sometimes we may want to insert an element in a dictionary with the default value, but only if the element is not already present. If the element is present, we do not want to give the default value. So here, let's see that in an action. Here we are getting a dictionary. Now we can do this in this form. We can take the loop and try to check whether this key is not in D or not. If this is not there in the dictionary, we can add the default value to the. So here we are adding this key and the value in the dictionary, right? We can do this way, but this is not the right approach. What we can do is here we are creating a one function as an utility function. It says that this insert if not present. That means if D is there, key is there, and the value is there. Here the same code will work. If key is not in D, we'll kind of add that key and the value pair into the dictionary and return the value, right? Else it will return the value. If the key is present, so it will return the direct value. Here we have this. This is the dictionary now. Now when we use this function, now let's try to see the result output. Now we already know that A is there in this dictionary, so we should get output 1. Here we are getting the output 1 because A is already there, so this has returned. Now here in this case, Y is not there in this dictionary, so it should return 10 because after it will set the value and then it will return the value. Here you see that. But instead, we can simply use the set default instance method. Instead of doing this, we can use the set default like here, which does the same thing. Like here we have this dictionary. Now we are doing d.set default. We are setting a as a 0. Now here we already know that a is already there. So the set default will return you the correct output, which is the output of a. Right here we can check that. Again, the same logic here. The z is not there in the dictionary, and we are trying to set the 100, and z is not there in the dictionary, so it will set the z value and it will return the new value of the z, which is 100, right? Now this is quite useful method, right? Now again we are trying to do the same techniques over here with the character counting, right? So here with the same, we have the text, we have created the dictionary. This is the loop we have taken to each character from the text. This is the same code we are using, right? Instead of that, now we are trying to use the get method. This is the same code, and we have done this earlier. Now, suppose like now that we just want a dictionary to track to kind of trace the upper and the lowers and the other character in the string. That means we want to group the data by uppercase, lowercase, and the others, like which is not upper and lowers, right? So how we can do that? Again, we already know that we can get the upper and the lowercase value from the string module, right? Here we are importing the string module. Now we're trying to check the upper cases, all the upper cases and all the lower cases. We can get that. Here you can get that. So first approach is we can check that. Here we have created the empty dictionary. Now we are taking this character loop And now we see that if that character not belongs to space, because we do not want to include space over here, if the C's character is not a space, then we'll say that if that C is in the ASCII lower, then the key will be lower. And if the C is in the ASCII upper, so the key will be upper, else the key will be others. And we again have if key is not in the categories. After this, we are checking that if that key, like this key, is not in the category, so we want to add that key and add as a, and the value will be an empty set, so that we want to insert the value in this empty set, right? And after that, after this entire thing, now what we want to do is we want to take the key, and now because when we extract the value with the help of this code, and this is the set, which is the set data type, now we want to add the element inside that set, right? So first, in the first 3 to 4 loop, we'll set the key as an upper, lower, and the other, and if, and then we want to add that value, right? Now again, here we are taking this this dictionary, we are taking this in a loop, and now we're trying to print that. Here we are printing this. Again, we have added all the value. Here we can check that we have added all the characters, right? Now instead of this, we can simply use a set default. Like over here, instead of writing this code, right, we can use the set default. We're saying that categories are set default, the key as in set, and then we want to add the C character into that dictionary, right? So this is what, like one line of code has replaced this entire 4 line of code, right? So we can use the set default over here to set the default value for the key, right? And simultaneously we are also adding the new value for that key, right? Again, we can also clean these things. So here we are getting the utility function. This is the utility functions, right? So we have this function called cat key, right? Again, the same code, we are saying that if C is there, then we'll return none. Otherwise, we'll return upper, lower, and others. So again, now this entire logic we have replaced in the utility functions. Now let's run this. Now we can use this direct function so that we can create a cleaner code, right? Now here we are taking the C's character into the text, and now we're trying to pass that C to this utility function, and this will return either none, lower, upper, and others. So the key will be either none, lower, upper, and others. And now we're checking that if key is there, now we want to run the code, and that's it. Now we can take the and now we can take a look at this entire dictionary output. Here it is, right? Now we can even replace this if else statement with this dictionary creations. So in this utility function, in this cat key, this was the utility function. What we're doing is, so we have created a dictionary of all these three characters, right? And now we have taken this loop, and now we are returning the others, right? So again, this is the other way to do the same task, right? And now we can check the output. So the output we are seeing as over here, right? And now we can use these functions to do the same approach, right? We're getting the same output. Now let's talk about how to clean the item from the dictionary. We can use the clear method. Let's say that we have this dictionary over here. This is the dictionary we have. Now we can simply use d.clear. This will clear all the items. And when we try to print the dictionary, we'll see the empty dictionary. So this clear method will help you to clear out all the items from the dictionary, right? Yeah, this is it. Thank you very much.